Greetings! Welcome once again to the Otaku Podcast Test Kitchens. Today, I'm going to show you how to make yet another classic Japanese dish, curry with rice. Let's get cooking! This episode is brought to you by Mozy Pro Online Backup. Simple, automatic, and secure. Visit mozypro.com and use the promo code PODCAST15 to save 15%. Curry with rice is one of the most popular dishes in Japan. I mean, you've no doubt seen it at a Japanese restaurant. Maybe you've even eaten it yourself. You've probably seen anime characters eating it in their bentos or at restaurants or whatever. In fact, there's even been songs written about it. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, I don't know, curry that seems awfully spicy. You're probably thinking about Indian curry. Instead, think more along the lines of British curry, because curry was introduced to Japan by British sailors during the Meiji period, and has remained extremely popular since then. Like I said, it's pretty much the most common food in Japan. It's kind of like Japanese comfort food. And, in fact, the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force has curry as their Friday meal. Let's take a look at what we need ingredient-wise for today's event. You'll need some butter, some all-purpose flour, some garam masala. This is an Indian spice blend. You should be able to find it in a ethnic foods market, or you can order it online, or you can use curry powder instead. Some cayenne pepper. This adds just a little bit of heat, but it's optional if you don't like it, or if you like more heat, you can add even more. Some black pepper, freshly ground if you've got it, some ketchup or tomato paste, some tonkatsu sauce. This is a Japanese sauce used for tonkatsu or breaded pork cutlet. Should be able to find it in the Japanese or Asian market, or you can order it online. Otherwise, you can use Worcestershire sauce. Some oil, 2 onions, sliced or diced, whichever is your preference. Some sort of meat product, traditionally either beef or chicken or pork, or you can also try other things, maybe shrimp sounds good, whatever, or leave the meat out entirely for vegetarian. 2 carrots cut into chunks, or the equivalent. Unfortunately, all I had here was baby carrots. Some water, Brita water if you've got it. 2 potatoes. You're going to want to peel those and cut them into chunks. An apple. You're going to want to peel it, core it, dice it up, and puree it. Or, I suppose you could use applesauce. Some salt. And finally, some peas. There is one more thing. You're going to want to make yourself some white rice. With the dish's name being curry and rice and all, I figure that's obvious, but you never know. Time now to thank our sponsor for this episode, Mozy Pro Online Backup. Look, when it comes to running a successful business, there are a lot of things you got to get right. You got to come up with the right business plan, you got to hire the right people, buy the right equipment. One thing that you've absolutely positively got to get right is back up your data. Accounting, invoices, customer records, digital assets such as photos or videos. This is the stuff that your business is riding on, and you have got to get it backed up, people. Look, computers, servers, hard drives, it's only a matter of time before they fail. In the US alone, over 140,000 hard drives fail every week. Then you've got earthquakes, fires, floods to worry about, theft. Even something as simple as a spilled coffee or soda can spell doom for your data and for your business that depends on that data. Only 7% of companies that lose their data centers for 10 days or more survive beyond their first year. I know what you're thinking, backup is hard, it's a pain, but it doesn't have to be. I want to tell you about our friends at Mozy, the most trusted name in online backup. Businesses of all shapes and sizes, and individuals too, use Mozy to back up everything from emails, contacts, important documents, to family photos and music. It's super simple, fully automated, and it works. Just install the software on your PC or Mac and you're in business. And it's super affordable too, up to 80% less than competing solutions. If you're not backed up, you are risking everything. Get Mozy Pro now. Call 877-669-9776. That's 877-669-9776, or visit mozypro.com. And right now, you can save 15% off just by using the promo code PODCAST15. Our thanks to Mozy Pro for sponsoring this program. Now, back to the episode. The first thing you want to do is heat up a medium saucepan on medium-low heat. Put in your oil and then saute your onions until they've caramelized or turned brown. This should take about 30 minutes. When your onions are good and brown, add your meat and brown it. By the way, if you've been paying attention, you probably noticed that when I showed the ingredients, I showed chicken, but I'm actually using beef here. Well, that's because the chicken didn't really work out so well. Fortunately, I happen to have some beef stew meat in the fridge, and worked out as a good substitute. By the way, you'll want to turn your heat up to high at this point. After you finish browning the meat, add the carrots and the water. Bring this mixture to a boil. When it comes to a boil, lower your heat to medium. You might notice a scum or a foam form at the top. You want to skim off as much of that as possible. Now, add your potatoes. Pureed apple. Salt, and garam masala. Simmer this mixture for about 30 minutes or until the meat is tender. Now when your meat and vegetables are nice and tender, set that pot aside, get a pan, and melt your butter over medium-low heat. When the butter is melted, add the flour and the garam masala. Stir until it forms a thick paste. Add the cayenne pepper, if you dare. And black pepper to taste. Finally, add the ketchup, and the tonkatsu sauce, and cook until you get a sort of a crumbly, pasty consistency. Now get about a cup or two of broth from your meat and veggies pot, pour it in, and whisk until smooth. Finally, add this mixture back to your beef and veggies pot and stir until thickened. To serve, just spoon it over rice. You did make the rice, didn't you? Didn't you? Well, there you have it, curry rice. You probably noticed, if you're observant, that I didn't use the peas. You just add those at the end, shortly before serving. They don't take very long to cook. Also, another common way that this is served is, instead of serving it over rice, that you serve it over spaghetti noodles. So you might want to try that sometime. And finally, if you remember that different meats have different times that they cook. In particular, if you're using seafood, shrimp, or something like that, you want to add that very close to the end of cooking instead of right at the beginning, because shrimp cooks really quickly. Hope you enjoyed the video. For Talking No Podcast, this is Donald Burr saying, until next time, sayonara, John A.